Let's talk about repeat loops. This is part 3 of a series that I'm doing on the different loop types in GameMaker. We talked about for loops, we've talked about while loops. Now let's talk about repeat loops. By the way, the links for those videos are in the description. So I have this object called obj_repeat loop, and we're just creating 5 enemies at 200 pixels apart. So our x is 100, 300, 500, and so on. When we run the game, when we click space, it's going to create our enemies. Now, we're going to achieve this same effect, but we're going to use a repeat loop, which is my favorite loop, by the way. This actually changed so much of how I program. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to save one of these so we don't have to rewrite it. And we're going to say repeat. There's your code. And you just want to put how many times you want it to repeat whatever code you want. So we're just going to put 5. And then we're going to put our brackets, indent that, and there we go. So when we run the game and we click space, it's going to create 5 enemies. Now it's all creating on top of each other because that's how we have it right now, but we're going to fix that. But can we just take a moment to appreciate how simple a repeat loop is and how awesome that is? I mean, you could just quickly do all these tasks just like that. And that is so efficient compared to the way we were doing it when the video first started. So, of course, we want to create them 200 pixels apart, so let's do this. So we already have our repeat loop made. We're going to make a local variable, which, if you don't already know this, a local variable means it's a variable that's only going to run within this script. So we're not going to be able to use it in another event, like step event or whatever. And good practice is to start those with an underslash. So you say var underslash. I'm just going to name it O, and we're just going to say equals 0. So, you know, when you do variables like this for loops, it's good practice to also just make it one letter if you can get away with that. Okay, so underslash O equals 0. And then at our X here with instance create, we're going to say 100. And we're going to say plus, add parentheses, and we're going to say underslash 0 times, actually we'll say 100, not that it matters, times underslash 0. And then after that, we're just going to say underslash 0 plus plus, which in the last video I explained, underslash 0 plus plus is the same as underslash 0 plus equals 1. It's just incrementing it by 1. By the way, is it underslash or underscore? I think I always say it wrong, but I'm not sure. When we run the game and we click space, now you can see it's creating it 100 apart. I believe we wanted it 200 apart, so my bad on that. My cat is distracting me right now. He's being so cute. There we go. So it's pretty awesome what you can do. And writing off the last tutorial, or at least the for loop tutorial, I think we did it in the while one too, but show message, this is message plus string O. So this will kind of simulate the same thing we did in the first 2 tutorials, which is just showing messages and writing out this variable as it increments. Press space. And you can see it's going to show 5 messages, starting at 0, because that's where we told it to start. Pretty cool, huh? So you can already probably begin to imagine all the use cases for a repeat loop. In many cases, I haven't needed to use a for loop because the thing I wanted to achieve with a for loop was achieved with a repeat loop. So I didn't need a for loop. So I want you to go through your game and try to find all the places that you can use a repeat loop, or maybe a repeat loop with a local variable. It's just a great tool to have in your tool belt. So I can't believe the video is already done, but I guess it is that simple. So thank you for watching. I am going to show you one more thing, but if you don't want to watch from here, I understand. So I'm just going to say this. Follow me on x.com/wizardy. You can see pictures of my ferret on there, which is pretty great. And I share some pretty funny things. I've also been playing with Grok, and I created this with the Grok AI in GameMaker, which is a solar system right here, which is pretty sweet. Okay, I do want to show you one more thing. We're going to draw out a grid, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And we're going to use repeat loops to do that. So, yeah, let's go to our draw event, and let's say var_o, let's start it at 0, and then var_grid_size, This is how big we want the grid to be, so it's going to start at 48. Next, we just need to add in our repeat loop, and we're going to make this, let's make it like an 8x8 grid. And so we have our repeat loop. Now we're going to say var_u equals 0. And we're going to do what we call nesting. We're going to nest another repeat loop here. And after that, we're going to say _0 plus plus. Going to increment that by 1. And we're also going to do that with our u variable as well within the second repeat here. And okay, so this is the basic framework for creating kind of a grid with repeat loops. We have 2 of them here. And then we're just going to draw text just to make it kind of easy here. We're going to say, let's see, let's just start it at, 50 plus parentheses grid size times _0. And so that's our x. And then we're going to say 50 plus grid size plus u. And then we're just going to write out our string, hello world. Okay, that should work. We'll see. Maybe not. I don't know. No, it didn't work. It does look cool, though. Okay, let's see what we did wrong here. Okay, I spotted it. It's this. We said grid size plus u. It should be times u, just like here. All right, let's try that again. All right, we're getting there. Let's increase the grid size from 48 to 128. And that should give us kind of a grid layout here. Just to get a better visual, I'm going to turn it back to 48. And instead of hello world, I'm just going to say, I'm just going to put a smiley face. How's that? Then we can run it. And there we go. We have a grid of 8x8 smiley faces. So, yeah, it's just incrementing things 8 times by 8 times. And then with this math here, of course, 50 is where we're starting. That's the x and a y. It's going to start at 50. So that should be this one right here is 50 because O and U equals 0. So it's going to start at 50 by 50. And then it's going to add 48 to the O and then 48 to the U. So it's going to run through just over and over and over however many times. So that's it. It's just kind of like basically doing 8 times 8, but then writing it out. Now, I'm sure there's a way to also do like a like actual rectangles to have a literal grid. Okay, I thought about it for a second, and here's the code that you would need to actually draw out the grid with lines. And this video is going now way longer than I wanted it to go, but that's the code that you would use. And I'll just put that in the description so you can copy and paste it. But essentially, we're just doing a draw rectangle, and we're just doing some math here, a lot like how we're doing the draw text, actually. The difference is we are kind of starting at the same x and the y as each of the smiley faces, but then we are incrementing the O and the U by 1 with the same exact formula to get the width and the height of each one of the grid boxes. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that should work just fine. And I'll just copy and paste this and put it in the description of the video. And I hope you enjoyed what you learned today. Leave a like, leave a comment, follow me on X. Also join our Discord. Link for all of that stuff is in the description. Thank you so much for watching.